The biggest problem in Bitcoin education, as I see it, is that common words and phrases are used, or rather misused, to try to explain things. Words like wallets, or advice like, move your coins off the exchange. I addressed these in my last video. If you haven't seen it, check the link in the description. In this video, I'm going to demystify Bitcoin a bit more by tackling the idea of Bitcoin as a digital ledger in cyberspace, or similar descriptions you may have heard. The reason that's a big problem is that they are only sort of correct, but not completely, and leave newcomers to Bitcoin confused with the wrong ideas about what it is and how it works. I get it. This is new technology and many people aren't that technical, and some are downright intimidated by computer stuff. It makes some sense to use familiar terms like wallet to give the average user a simple idea of what the software apps for interacting with Bitcoin are, to keep things approachable and non-intimidating. But if the end goal is to help someone understand Bitcoin to the degree that they can take ownership of their Bitcoin and secure it correctly, it's a lazy shortcut. Worse than that, it's counterproductive. Paraphrasing Aristotle, the least initial deviation from the truth is multiplied later 1,000-fold. This is a bit of a tangent, but there's an idea that's become popular in Bitcoin circles and is used to encourage people to take ownership of their Bitcoin rather than just buying Bitcoin through an exchange and leaving it in their custody. The message that's been floated is that if you can drive a car, you can take self-custody of your Bitcoin. I believe this is not a great analogy or good way to frame things. Technically, anyone who's old enough to read and write could self-custody Bitcoin, even children in primary school. Beyond that, it takes no special physical skills, no physical finesse, no advanced hand-eye-foot coordination, no focused spatial awareness, no quick reflexes, etc., like safely driving a car does. So what's the real barrier making people reluctant to try to take ownership of their Bitcoin? In my humble opinion, it's completely about people feeling like they don't understand what Bitcoin is and how it works. And what's the reason for that? I truly believe it's because of the poor choices of common words and phrases used when teaching people about Bitcoin, which are rarely ever explained well. Back to the main topic of this video, calling Bitcoin a digital ledger. So what do most people think of when they hear the word ledger? Likely a double entry book containing pages with a column on one side for debits and a column on the other side for credits, perhaps with a third column to track when the debit or credit occurred. So a digital version of that might be a spreadsheet or database, with a number of rows and columns filled with data. But Bitcoin doesn't use anything like that, so once again, it contributes to the wrong mental image and makes it harder for the average person to understand Bitcoin. Why? Because if Bitcoin were just a simple spreadsheet or database used to keep track of transactions, it leads to the natural questions like, where is this database? Who maintains it? Can't someone just fudge the numbers and change different entries? After all, a typical spreadsheet or database really is simple to edit. It's as easy as pressing a couple keys on your computer. But if that's what Bitcoin is, who can trust it? Fortunately, that isn't what Bitcoin actually is. In fact, it was designed precisely to make this kind of cooking the books impossible. How? By being a decentralized, autonomous system which no single person, company, government, or country has control over. The details of that require unpacking more of the nuts and bolts of the Bitcoin system, including nodes, mining, and the Bitcoin protocol itself, which is more than can be explained in this short video. Coming back to the main point though, the truth of the matter is the Bitcoin system acts something like a ledger, but is not a typical ledger. Bitcoin is a new technology that solved century-old problems with money and financial accounting, and there is no simple word or phrase that can be used, like calling it a ledger, that can do it justice. If you're just starting out learning about Bitcoin, or even if you've been trying to study it for a while but are still confused, this is why I launched Beginning Bitcoin. Hit subscribe, like, and click the notification bell. Also, check out the free resource link in the description and let me set you on the right path to understanding this technology.